When I was a teenager, I read a book by the Dalai Lama about happiness, and he pointed out the difference between pleasure and happiness. It seems pretty obvious right now, but at the time, it was a new concept for me. There are things that feel pleasurable: hanging out at the beach, eating good food, watching YouTube or social media online. There's nothing wrong with that. I like pleasurable things. But pleasure doesn't lead to happiness. They're two separate concepts. And we know this because if we had a life full of pleasure where we could have everything we wanted, we would not be happy. There's an episode of The Twilight Zone called A Nice Place to Visit, where a criminal dies and believes he's gone to heaven. He gets everything he wants. He wins every gambling game. He gets the women he wants. Pretty much what he wants, he gets. And he realizes that he doesn't really like it. He gets bored with it. So he asks to leave heaven and go to the other place, only to find out that he is in the other place. A week on the beach, great. 10 years on the beach. Is it going to feel that much better, or is it actually going to be unpleasant for many of us? What was once special becomes normal. What was once a luxury just becomes the baseline. I actually think about this even with small things. For example, a lot of short-term free offers. I rarely take advantage of them because usually I'm fine with what I have. And I know that if I take advantage of this free offer, it'll be great at first, but then my baseline will be that free offer, and eventually I'm going to want to pay for it. And we do this with lifestyle generally. Today's luxury becomes tomorrow's baseline. I also think pleasure needs contrast. If I'm going to sit in front of YouTube and watch some videos, I'm going to feel better about it if I've worked out or taken the dog out or cleaned up or done some work. But if I spend all day on YouTube, I'm going to feel pretty down. And this isn't about making yourself miserable. It's about doing hard things. For some reason, we just need to do those things to be able to enjoy that time in front of the screen or the TV or a week on the beach. Which makes me think about responsibility. I think freedom is really important, but freedom is nothing without responsibility. And autonomy is really important to me because I don't want someone standing over me telling me what to do. I like to have the autonomy to do something on my own. But without responsibility, we can lose that freedom. Imagine being free from work, being free from obligations, being free from everything and owing no one anything. That can sound pretty sweet at first. But look at people who live their whole lives waiting for retirement. And once they reach it, they may have fun for a bit, but then they get bored. Every day is the weekend, so you stop looking forward to the weekend. We don't need freedom from responsibility. We need the freedom to be able to choose the responsibilities we want to carry. And some of those responsibilities come from love. Love is a terrible strategy if we want to maximize pleasure. The more you love someone, the more they can inconvenience you, worry you, frustrate you, and even lead to loss. But yet I don't think anyone would pick a life where we don't have love, because someone loving you and you loving someone means you matter. Responsibility can be burdensome, but when someone depends upon you, you really do matter. Hardship isn't automatically good. It can break people. But removing every challenge doesn't necessarily make life better. What helps is a challenge you can adapt to, just enough without overwhelming you. This brings me to work, because we spend so much of our life doing it. There is the advice, follow your passion. But is that always good advice? For example, some people are passionate about cooking, but would they really enjoy working in a kitchen at least 8 hours a day? Maybe, maybe not. Turning a hobby into work isn't always a good idea. There's repetition, there's deadlines, there is doing the same thing over and over until it's no longer enjoyable. And then there's doing something you're good at. I think that's a little closer to the answer, But there are a lot of people who are really good at something but hate doing it. So what actually seems to matter? Well, the evidence shows is competence, autonomy, connection to people, and actually doing something that matters to others, which makes sense to me. You'd want to do something that you're competent at and that you're good at. Autonomy, not having to be micromanaged, and then relating to other people, which is really important to being human. And then finally, what you do, you want someone else to actually benefit off that. Another piece of advice that I would give to people is don't fall in love with the imagined job. The idea of something is so different than actually doing it. So if you're young and you're thinking about going into a field, then volunteer, go interview people who do the job, somehow get involved in it, because the idea of something can be so different than the actual experience. You can love psychology, but get tired of listening to people. You can love animals, but really not enjoy being a veterinarian. Interests tell you where to look. Experience tells you where to stay. So if happiness isn't pleasure, then what is it? I don't think that there is an exact formula. There are some of the things I mentioned, but it's going to be different for everyone. Some things are going to be important for some people than others. The point is that not everyone should construct the same life. But I think a general rule is what feels good right in the moment is not necessarily going to be the same thing that creates a meaningful life. And it's those meaningful things that lead to happiness. Happiness cannot be attained by trying to attain happiness. Instead, it's about waking up and being proud of the life that you've built. A life with people I love, something worth doing, enough freedom to make meaningful choices, responsibilities I think are worth carrying, challenges that require something of me. And yes, pleasure too. I don't want a life without pleasure. I just don't think it can carry the weight of happiness. Happiness isn't something we can chase directly. It comes as a byproduct of creating a life that is worth living.